So good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you here today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Ben Frank, Executive Director for Center City Business Association. For those not familiar with the association, we are celebrating 44 years of service to the Philadelphia business community. At the beginning of this year, we rebranded and changed our name from the Center City Proprietors to the Center City Business Association. We've always been dedicated to making Center City a strong central business core that supports the economic success of the entire region. But now our new name and our new brand more inclusively communicates that we represent all businesses and better reflects our mission and our members. We provide opportunities, we educate our community, and we embrace differences, which creates a vibrant environment ripe for collaboration and growth. Just want to thank our members and guests for your continued support. It's been a long 2.5 years. We know we have a lot of work to do to bring more people back to Center City. So while this event offers an opportunity for people to attend from home or the office, we are busy planning events in person. If you have ideas or suggestions for speakers or topics, please post them in the chat or email us later. So for today, we are recording the event. We mute everyone to begin, but encourage you to unmute when you have questions and of course to participate. Please use the chat for questions, comments, suggestions, and to connect with each other. You can also post your contact information, LinkedIn profile, and or your website in the chat so everyone can connect. I just want to mention a few upcoming events. Next week, we have lunch with the city's leaders with Dr. Bruce Meyer. He's the president of Jefferson Health and senior executive vice president of Thomas Jefferson University. On the 11th, we have a happy hour breakfast at the Fitler Club with the Fitler Club Business Networking Club members, which is a separate club within the club. On November 15th, you're all invited to our annual membership event at Stake 48. Details on these events and others can be found on centercitybusiness.org. I do want to acknowledge our sustaining sponsor and preferred benefits provider, Michael Craig, who's also a board member. His company is Penworth Benefits Group. You can learn more about Michael's services at penworth.com. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Center City Business board member and treasurer, and the person who suggested this event idea, Suzanne Spinell-Schuster, also from Marcum LLP. Suzanne?
Thank you, Ben. And hello, everybody. I am Suzanne Spinell-Schuster, Director of Accounting Services at Marcum LLP. Marcum LLP is a national accounting and advisory services firm dedicated to helping entrepreneurial middle market companies and high net worth individuals achieve their goals. We offer a complete spectrum of tax, assurance, and advisory services, as well as an extensive portfolio of industry-focused practices with specialized expertise for both privately held and publicly registered companies and nonprofit and social sector organizations. Business owners and managers choose Marcum for our pragmatic, industry-focused insights. Our mission is to help your organization become more successful. Ask me for details or visit marcumllp.com. And now it is my honor to introduce Matt. In the beginning, we were joking. I said, I forgot Matt's last name. I'm drawing a blank. So with that, Matt Blank is Director of Business Development at Marcum LLP and has over 20 years of experience helping organizations facilitate growth. He collaborates and strategizes with various offices, practice groups, and partners to achieve their business development goals. I have worked with Matt, and he is beyond excellent. Matt conducts business development for the firm and is a leader in our internal training program, Marcum University, and our Trusted Advisor program, helping train the next generation of leaders on how to develop business in an authentic way. Matt grew up in Northeast Philadelphia and now lives in Phoenixville with his wife, 3 daughters, and dog. I am delighted for you to meet Matt. So please join me in waving a warm welcome to Matt Blank.
What an intro, Suzanne. Great job. Thank you. And the joke at the beginning, I got to say, I've heard that one too many times of my last name. So I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, everyone. 1 second here. Everybody see that? Big thumbs up if you can. Yes. All right. So first of all, thanks everybody for taking the time today to listen to what I have to say and what I believe in, what I'm passionate about. I'm going to bring a lot of energy today. We're going to tell a lot of great stories. We're going to laugh. Some of us are probably going to cry. And we're really going to think introspectively to who we are and how are we approaching the relationships that we have. I truly hope that when we get out of this hour, that you can take away one insight, one new thing that you can apply to yourself and say, you know what, that was a valuable hour for me because I learned this one thing, at least one, hopefully more than one. For those that are not on camera, if you'd like to join, this is definitely going to be interactive. So though I'm going to talk about different concepts, I'm going to be interacting. So Alicia and Tom, appreciate you guys being the one and two volunteers here, other than the board members, Suzanne and Michael, for being on video. So without just further ado, to go into who I am and why I'm here today. What we're going to cover, we're going to first start with knowing your why and developing your authentic self. Everything that we're going to talk about in creating good and memorable relationships comes from a genuine place of authenticity. So though I'm in sales and in business development my whole life, I come from a place of you have to be yourself and you have to be authentic for anyone to want to buy from you. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about how do you build trust and those relationships with the people that matter. So the specific hows of what trust is and how to get to that point. And then finally, some extra things that you can do to create positive memories and generate new business. So just first, who am I and why are you listening to me? So as Suzanne said, I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, product of a blue collar family. My dad made furniture. My mom worked at Kohl's. I was the first to graduate college. I have a bunch of mechanics and firemen and police in my family. And the one thing I learned growing up was that hard work ethic of having that blue collar mentality is something that everyone can feel when you do it on a consistent basis. So I kind of apply that blue collar work ethic to the white collar world we work in today. As Suzanne mentioned, I have a wife named Kristen. We met in Atlantic City in 2009. We have 3 beautiful daughters, Samantha, Etta, and Millie. And they are the ones that you might not hear screaming in the background right now because their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches just fell on the floor. But I hear that. So just to let you know, that's what's happening in my house right now. I have a dog named Ying, who's a Chinese crested. He is the boss of the household and the guard dog. But how did I start my career and how did I get to where I'm at today? I owe a huge amount of gratitude to this boy band here named NSYNC. So you're probably thinking to yourself, I didn't know I just signed up for a 1-hour thing here at noon to talk to somebody whose biggest influence was NSYNC. But when I was in high school, I had no confidence to talk to the other gender, to be able to start dances and ask people to prom and things of that nature. I was the heavyweight kid that played football. But NSYNC came out, and I would learn their different dances at home, and I would practice them. And I remember I go into one of my high school dances. I did one of their dances in front of everybody, and my confidence shot through the roof. And the DJ said to me, he says, "Would you ever be interested in being a bar or a bat mitzvah DJ?" I'm like, "What's a bar bat mitzvah?" And I was 14 years old. I had no idea what it was. And he says, "You should come. You'll make $75 to dance, and hype the crowd up." I said, "I would love to do that." So that was my first job ever at 14 years old. I was going to mitzvahs every weekend, sometimes 4 in a weekend, to perform. From that, I learned a lot about hospitality and taking care of people, but the aspect of performing. And that bug bit me a little bit too much because in 2000, I tried out for a boy band called O-Town. This was my headshot to try out for O-Town. I thought I would be in the boy band, and I thought that I would be a famous singer. But when I tried out, they realized I could not sing, so I didn't make it far in the interactions there. However, I did learn how to be a DJ. So between 2000 and say 2012, I ran one of the most successful DJ companies in Philadelphia. It was something I loved to do, but once I started thinking about the future of my career, I decided that DJing wasn't really it. But I loved hospitality and taking care of people. So today you're going to hear a lot about how do you creatively come up with concepts to make people remember you. One of the jobs I had just before I was with Friedman and now Marcum was with an event marketing agency where we would travel the country and develop brand experiences for large companies. So if they had an event where they would invite guests to, our job was to come up with creative strategies to get those guests to do the behavior that they wanted them to do, whether it be buy their products or sell more for incentive trips or things of that nature. But conferences, events have been kind of the backbone of who I am. And why does that matter today? I apply that hospitality, creative brain to how I speak and how I bring my programs out. As Suzanne mentioned, now I'm with Marcum leading our training programs, and today I'm really delighted to be with you and run this program about developing meaningful relationships. So as I started at the very beginning, I think it all starts with knowing who you are. In order to develop meaningful relationships with the outside world, whether professionally or personally, if you don't know who you are, it's going to be much more difficult for you to develop said relationships. So for me, I look at every decision we make in understanding what our why is, comes down to a couple things. So I'm just going to do a quick poll of the audience. And Tom and Alicia, I appreciate, again, you being on video here. But anyone else who's not on video, if you'd like to vote, just use the hand emoji there so I can see. So I'm going to give you guys a quick poll here. Option A, you wake up tomorrow morning and there's $10 million in your bank account. Or if you already have 10 million, maybe there's 10 million more in your bank account. But option A, you wake up tomorrow and there's $10 million in your bank account. Option B, you wake up and you're 10 years younger. You're as wise as you are today, but you are 10 years younger. You don't know what the Powerball numbers are or who won the Super Bowl last year, but you're as wise as you are today. You're just 10 years younger. So by a show of hands, who's going with option A? 10 million. Tom, why are you going to go 10 million?
I'm 27 and I don't want to be 17 again. And I like $10 million. So
I love that, Tom. I love that. 27, not to be 17. Okay. So what would you do with the 10 million?
probably invest some of it in my portfolio, invest some of it in my business, and then buy some toys too.
Buy some toys. Cool. All right. Who would go with option B by show of hands? Who's going to go 10 years? Anybody on the non-video going 10 years? All right, Ben, you're going 10 years. Ben, why would you go 10 years?
Because I'm 50 something and I think I'd like to be 10 years younger with the knowledge I have and the way I've grown over the last 10 years.
So no matter if you picked B for the knowledge you have and to experience those 10 years, or A, as Tom said, to invest that money, which is eventually going to help him buy more toys, as he said. And what he does with those toys could be creating memories for himself, creating memories for others. But it all comes down to the memories that you have. I'm going to do one more poll because this is really important of why we're talking today, and that the title of being Don't Waste Time. So I'm just going to quick skip ahead for both of them. Would you rather now, option A, know when you are going to die, or do not know when? So if there was an option where you could say, you know what, I would want to know the day at which I'm going to die, April 5th, 2076, or I would not want to know. I want it to be exactly like it is now. Would anybody volunteer to say, yes, I'd want to know when I was going to die? I'm just scrolling through to see if anybody's saying yes to that. Joe would say yes to that. I wrote a movie in college that was based on this concept, and I interviewed professors and other students, and it was split 50-50, where half the people would want to know what day I'm going to die because I would plan my life differently. Or other people say, I don't want to know. I want to live every day as if it's my last. The reason I bring this up is that reality is we do not know when we're going to die. So we have to particularly think about every single day as if it is. If anyone remembers the story of Holly Butcher, Holly was an Australian woman. She was 26 and came down with Ewing sarcoma, a bone cancer. It took her pretty quickly. But before she passed, one of the things she wrote in her love letter to life was, I can't take any of the material things with me that I bought, or some of the small stuff that I sweat, like emails that people aren't responding or arguments that I had with friends. The only thing I could take with me are the positive memories I created for myself and the positive memories I've created for each other, for other people. So one of the things it's so important to me is every minute that I get a chance to do something, I'm creating a memory. Everyone knows what an hourglass looks like. If you look at the top of the hourglass, that sand that's at the top, that's how much time we have remaining in life. So if we were to know what the outcome is, however much sand we have, we would know when that last sand drops, that's the last minute of our life, or the last day of our life, whatever you want to use each grain of sand. The sand at the bottom is the time that's already been spent, the past, the memories that you have, or the lessons that you've learned when you were 10, when you were 17, when you were 25, however old you were. That's the sand at the bottom. When I look at this program today and I think about the sand that's at the top, how do I maximize each grain of sand and be as present as I possibly can for each grain of sand that's coming through? Because that little arrow where it comes together in the very beginning or in the middle right there, that is the present. That's each moment passing. So for those that joined today, we're never going to get, what is it, 12/17 on September 29th ever back again. You made the decision today to join us during this hour-long program. And you said yes to this, but you said no to something else. So you might have said no to a lunch meeting with someone. You might have said no to watching the news at 12 o'clock, but you said yes to this program. That's a present moment that we're having right now. So everything I'm going to talk about today is how do you be present in the moment to create more memories for yourself and for others so that it turns into new business for you. One of the things that I truly believe in knowing your why is coming up with that why statement and knowing kind of what you stand for. So I want to play a quick video here that makes me think all the time about how do I proactively keep my why present of mind. So I'm just going to do a stop share on this here and then share on another screen just because I have the video already queued up. So if you guys give me 1 second here, screen 3, share, yes. And I would like to share my sound. Yes, I would. All right, let me know. Can you guys see that? Yes, thumbs up. Alicia, you see that? All right.
This is called How Do I Know? And a lot of times when people hear the phrase, how do I know? The next thing they say is what? How do I know what? But the key really isn't to know what. The key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that has moved me towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We were in Winston-Salem. So Break Time, this is how it works. I travel the country, I do stand-up comedy, probably an hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. I was like, all right, you teach music, you know, can you sing? And then I'm just gonna show you the clip. Check it. So you're a musical director. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, once you give me the version, is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know which version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
So the first time he sang, he knew what he was doing. The second time he sang, he knew why he was doing it. And when you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose. So the question becomes, in developing relationships with other folks, authentic, meaningful relationships, we have to communicate what our why is to them. So some would say, you know, what's your elevator pitch? So like, let's say Tom, for example. Tom, you know, if I were to say, Tom, tell me your elevator pitch. Tom might talk about what his company does, right? He might talk about why his company's different or why people hire his company. But if Tom were to answer that into truly what makes him tick and what his compassions are about his service, I'm assuming it's film, right, Tom, that you're in? Film, right? Yes.
Yep, film and video production.
Video production. Right. So Tom might answer this differently based on his artistic expression or why he got in a video in the first place. But if Tom is true to himself and says that elevator pitch, which I'm putting quotes around it because I don't think it should be some sort of a sales thing. It should be truly who you are, why you do what you do. But the more you're your authentic self, the more people can relate to you. When we talk about meaningful relationships, there's one key word that goes throughout that, and that's trust. No one wants to buy from someone that they don't trust. No one wants to be around someone that they don't trust. If I think you have ulterior motives, then I think that you have something to get one over on me. So trust starts with authenticity, and authenticity starts with yourself and understanding why you are and what you stand for. So that's why I love that video, because it shows the difference when you know what you're doing as opposed to why you're doing it. Now we want to talk about not just yourself. And again, we have an hour today, and we could go deeper down. I could spend 3 hours just on the why. So I'm highlighting each topic as we go. And I'm happy to discuss this further if any of you like to reach out to me afterwards. But the second part of this is not just yourself. The second part of the equation is the other people. So the other people you're going to define, right? It's going to be your prospects, your referral sources, your employees, your family, and your friends. And you're going to put these different people into buckets. So let's just say that this iStock photo here, it represents a good sample size of the network of people that you want to interact with. And going back to that that hourglass earlier, we only have so much time in the day. So what I think is very important when we put in this title here of people that matter is to identify who are the people that matter. When I was just starting in sales, I would say yes to every networking event I possibly could just to get my name out there as much as I could. I went very, very wide and very, very shallow with a lot of people, coming home with 20 business cards a night, and I thought that was business development. And now in my ripe old age of 37 or 38, I'm 38. Yeah, I'm 38. I'll be 39 in November. Of 38, I'd rather go much deeper with people and have a finite amount of people that truly matter to me that I can experience life with, as opposed to shallow conversations with a lot of people. I remember my wife once, we were going out to a dinner party. Do you guys ever do this where you book dinner plans with like a couple, or people months in advance, and it gets to the day of and you're like, man, I don't want to go out to dinner with them tonight. I just don't feel like it. I remember that happened with us once, and Kristen said, she's like, why are you still friends with them? Like, they've never done anything bad to you, but every time you hang out with them, it feels like it's an energy suck, and it takes so much for you to get up to go out with them. She says, Matt, that's because you have 100 pennies in your pocket. You have $1, but you have 100 pennies, and it's weighing on your pocket, but they're all 1 penny. And she didn't have many friends at the time. She says, Matt, I have 4 quarters. I have the same amount of money you do in my pocket, but I have 4 truly deep friends that I can rely on. So why I say this is so important is identifying who your network is. Another way to put it is this. If you look at this picture here, this is an aerial shot of a parking lot. Let's just say that building on the right is Target. It's probably Home Depot because it's orange. Let's just say it's Home Depot, okay? Just to go with the orange theme. Home Depot on a Saturday is pretty packed, right? You would assume that a lot of people doing their house projects are going to Home Depot on a Saturday. What do you think the best spots are at that parking lot? What would you say the best spots are? The prime time spots, the ones in the front, right? So if I'm thinking the best spots are in the front, if Home Depot could reserve those spots for the people that spend the most amount of money, like only park here if you're going to spend over $1,000 with us, and we'll reserve that spot for you. They would, because they want to create a better experience for their higher VIP prospects or clients, or shoppers, I should say. But obviously we don't do that in our society. But imagine that parking lot being your time, and you are the building, and the people that get the best spots are the people that matter the most to you. And whether they raise your energy when you're around them, they're your mentors, they're your deepest friends that would do anything for you, or they are your biggest clients or your biggest prospects, meaning that they can give you the most amount of revenue or referral sources, or they're influential to get you in certain doors that maybe you couldn't get in. You could define what that VIP looks like for you. But if this parking lot were in each car would be a person, you have to reserve your best parking spots, which is your time, to the most important people. It's not like you can just be a revolving door of contacts all the time, because you're never going to go deeper with people. So the second thing I would say in terms of developing meaningful relationships, the first thing was spending some time to really develop your why. And you can Google, how do I find my why statement, and find a ton of different exercise for you to go through. The second thing is to identify who are the most important people to you. Meaning that I want to know, okay, if this person's going to be a big prospect for me, how am I going to show them that they're important to me? How am I going to get in front of them consistently so they think of me when it comes top of mind? I've seen some annotation here going on the screen. Here's the biggest way to think about it. When I meet someone for the first time, we're all trained as kids, stranger danger. Stay away from strangers. Why? Because strangers could be dangerous, right? I'm teaching my daughters that now. Stranger danger. Why? Because they might have ulterior motives. They might be dangerous to us, to harm us. Well, when that equates to adults, what happens? We still have that ingrained in us, that we have our guard up when we meet someone for the first time, because we do not know what their intentions are. So in order to develop a meaningful, sustainable relationship with someone, you have to understand, can I relate to them first? So when we talk about relating to someone, the first thing is getting their guard down. How do I get someone's guard down? And that is a pretty hard thing to do, because you never know what someone has thinking about, their biases of you, the biases of the situation, how they were introduced to you, right? So you have to do what? You have to ask questions and get to know them. I'm going to go into my second part here about how to do that and what the question tree looks like. But that's the concept, is the more that I can meet the right people, the more that I can relate to the right people and get their guard down and truly connect with them, because I'm my authentic self, and they are their authentic selves, then we truly can communicate and develop a relationship. But if they think I'm just a used car salesman, if they think I'm just here trying to peddle something for my own interests, their guard is never going to come down. They're always going to be thinking, this person wants to get one over on me, whether it be I'm going to pay too much for this, or they're going to sell me something I don't need, right? So in order for us to be truly successful in developing relationships that turn into business, we have to make sure that we are clear with our intentions, because we are our authentic self, because we don't want to be this. So what's the antithesis to that? That's building trust. And it doesn't just happen overnight. It's a long process to build trust, right? Everyone's heard that before. It takes years to build trust with people, or months to build trust. And it takes one mess up, one mistake to ruin it. I look at each relationship. If you were to go back to that parking lot analogy, each relationship is a series of doors. So going back to Tom in video production, Tom, thanks, by the way, thanks for being the volunteer that I get to call in today. I appreciate it. Alicia, you're going to be the second half, okay? She's like, great. And video off. All right, cool. Tom, if that last door there, see the door, it's very, very small at the very end that's closed, right? Let's just say that last door represents a new customer signing a contract with you to be their master video production company. You do all their work, right? If I were to look at the door just before that, the one that just opened, and slow down this kind of sales cycle, I would think that would probably be, you submitted some sort of proposal or some sort of a contract with them, right? Meaning the last door that opens is them signing the contract. One step before that is you had to at least submit a contract or a proposal. One step before that, one door before that could be, maybe you had a discussion about a scope of services, time, fees, things of that nature, so that you could develop the proposal. Backing that up, they had to probably raise their hand and say, hey, Tom, I have some video things I want to talk to you about, some new campaigns we want to build this year. And sorry if I'm getting this wrong, Tom, but I'm assuming that you build video production for corporations. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right, cool. Thanks for being our guinea pig here, Tom. So I would assume that if they were to raise their hand and say, hey, Tom, I have some needs this year, I want to talk to you about it, what has to happen before that? They have to know Tom exists. They have to like Tom. They have to trust Tom. So whether they came to Tom because someone introduced them to Tom, or they met Tom at an event a year ago and Tom took the year to invest in who they are, so that when a video need came up, they called him. Whatever has to happen, we have to back it all the way out to that first door, the stranger door. So when I look at a relationship, I look at them and I think, okay, what does the end door look like for me with this person? What am I trying to develop with this person? You know, there are people that I've known throughout my life that maybe it started just as business, but we became friends. Or maybe we started as friends and it became business. There wasn't any end goal to everyone. But I had an idea in mind of, what does success look like for me with this relationship? And why does this person command the amount of time I'm going to invest in this person? And there's all types of things you can do to deposit in this person's piggy bank of value. But we have to understand, where am I at with this person and what's the next door look like? So if you were to audit your network, and let's go to Alicia for a second. If Alicia, what kind of work are you in?
Edgar Filing Agency and virtual admin support.
Virtual admin support.
Mhm.
So in Alicia's world, if she were to have a network of potential buyers or people that are influential in her world, she would audit those people and she would think, okay, where am I with each person? And what's the next thing I have to do with this person to get them closer to that finish line if they are truly want to be clients or prospects of yours? But life isn't that easy. It's not just like one single roadmap of, okay, if I do this, then this is going to net me this. You know, it's the doors kind of open and close and lock and whatnot. But the thing that I always think about is, how do I audit my own network and know which door I'm in? Because ultimately I want to get to what's called trust fill. I want to get to a point where I know that that person trusts me and I trust them. That they don't think I'm here just as a sleazy salesperson, or I'm just another person working for an accounting firm trying to get their work, or introduce them to someone for my own benefit. I got to get to trust fill, because once I get to trust fill, that's when we can get to true and clear communication where they're going to share their real problems with me. Everyone has a bubble above their head. Everyone on this call has a bubble above their head. So I can't see you, but Brett Lawrence has a bubble above his head right now of potential problems that are going on in his life, personally and professionally, whatever they are. Brett's not going to share all those troubles with just anyone randomly. He's only going to share those problems if A, someone he trusts asked him, or B, the troubles are big enough that he seeks out the help by someone that he trusts. The key word there is we have to build the trust, because in order for us to get to know our prospects and get to know our relationships and our referral sources, we have to build the trust. And the trust comes from us asking as many questions as possible when we meet people. We want people to know that we are more interested in them than interesting, so that we can be the problem solvers of said problem that they have. So if Tom were to come to me, Matt, I have some problems with my business as I'm growing in different states. I'm just role playing here of an accounting scenario. And I don't know what sales tax is in Texas versus California versus Washington. I need someone to figure that out. Can you help me with that? I'm going to say, yes, we have a great SALT team here at Marcum that can help you out. That was not a shameless plug, but it turned into one very quickly. Sorry for that. Anyway, the point of this being, if I'm going to be the problem solver for people, I need to know that the bridge of trust is built and that they know they can come to me with their problems. So how do we ingrain and educate that in people over the course of time consistently so that you can become their problem solver in hopefully the service or product that you sell or work in the business that you're in, but also the other people that you know that can help out. You know, if I used to be in the event industry and people would always come to me, Matt, do you know anybody that rents tents? Do you know anybody that has, generators that can rent me, or great caterers that can help me, or any unique ideas? I'd love putting people together and connecting to people. So their problem was, I have something event related, and do you know somebody that can fix it? Same thing goes in any profession that we're in. If someone could come to you with a problem and you could fix it, now you know that you're in Trustville with them, and that you know that you can deposit what's called social currency into their piggy bank. So going back to auditing your list of people, your contacts. Again, this part of the program is all about other people. And if you were to put a piggy bank next to all of them, or a bank account, or some sort of associated value, when was the last time you made a deposit into that person's piggy bank? It's like if you go to prospects and say, hey, I want to be your accounting firm, or I want to be your video production company, and we have our hand out asking for things, that's the same thing of making a withdrawal. But you can't make a withdrawal until you make deposits, right? You can't just go to your bank and try to withdraw $10 if you don't have $10 in the bank account. So how do we audit the group of people that are important to us and know that we've made the commitment, the investment to invest in them and to add value to them? What does that even look like? One, it could be I know that they like to meet people of this type of industry. So I'm going to see in my network if there's anybody that I meet that I can introduce them to, an introduction. You know, if we were to hang the call up today, and I call Tom right away and say, Tom, one of my clients is a big manufacturer. They're a big brewer out here in Philadelphia, and they're expanding exponentially. And they just got a lot of TV channels bought to do some advertising. They need a good video production team. Can you talk to them? Tom's going to love that, right? Because I just offered him a potential business opportunity. Now, let's just say that business opportunity closes, and now a new client of Tom's. That's $1 I just deposited in the piggy bank. I'm making numbers up, $1. Now, let's just say I made that referral and they ultimately did not hire Tom for whatever reason. That's still 50 cents in the deposit in Tom's mind because I've given him an opportunity. Or let's just say I introduced to him who's to a person who's a CMO of a big organization. And that CMO might not have any needs right now, but now him and the CMO can build a relationship with each other. That's a quarter into the value. Or I invite Tom to an event. That's 5 cents. Or I send an article to Tom because I think that's relevant. That's a penny. Or I wish Tom a happy birthday. That's a penny. So thinking about your network and thinking about when's the last time you've added value to them, and you can get very creative in how do you make sure that you are top of mind to them and they think of you in a positive light because you're always giving as opposed to always asking. Here's what it really comes down to in terms of turning these relationships into business is here's you telling the world how great you are in your job or your company and why people should hire you or want to work with you or refer you or be around you. If you're able to get 2 people to say the same thing about you, and you're able to get 6 people to say the same thing, and 12 and 18 and 24, and get more and more people to say the right things about you, you don't have to even be at some of these rooms to have your extended sales force out there for you because they trust you. They know you're going to take care of the person they refer you to, and they are truly bought into who you are. They want to see you be successful. They're incentivized to see you be successful because they like you and they trust you. So as we sit here right now, I might have, 10 or 20 attorneys that are out there in the world right now. And any of them could be having lunch with one of their clients. And any of their clients could say, I'm thinking about switching auditors next year. And I'm just not really happy with the auditor. If any of those attorneys say, you have to call my friend Matt at Marcum, he'll take care of you. I'm not even an auditor. I'm not even an accountant. But I want that person to say that so that client could call me and say, I was referred to you from, my attorney or from whoever. I'd like to talk to you about this. Now, going back to that door analogy, I've just skipped over the first couple doors because this person's coming to me with a potential problem and a trusted resource of them referred me. So how do you get more trusted resources of other people to say the same things that you want to say yourself? That's the kind of the key to the game when it comes to turning relationships into business. And let's shift to our third and final chapter of today. So let's take time for some questions. Creating positive memories that generate new business. So what are you willing to do to make those deposits? I had a boss once that said, Matt, there's no traffic in the extra mile. No one is expecting you to take it, but everyone will remember you for taking it. So if there's no traffic in the extra mile and no one's expecting me to take it, but they'll remember that, how do I look for the extra mile with every single interaction that I have? How do I make sure that if it's just an email that I'm sending, that I recognize that there's another human being on the other side of that email, not just the computer, that I humanize the email, or I make the experience they have with me a positive experience. So let's just do something very, very simple at the beginning. Tom and Alicia, can you guys role play for a second? Is that cool with you guys? All right, cool. So you're both going to unmute yourself. And by the way, for all the other people, please put your hands together, a big wave or whatever for Tom and Alicia volunteering. All right, Tom, Alicia, I want you to introduce yourself to each other. Again, this is going to be weird because you're virtual, you don't know each other, and this is kind of forced. But so just roll with it. I want you to introduce yourself to the other person as if they're the most unimportant person you've ever met in your life. They don't deserve the next 30 seconds of your time here. They're so low on your totem pole that they're lucky they're even getting you to say hi to them at all. So introduce yourself to them as if they're the most unimportant person. Tom, go first.
Okay. I'm Tom. I'm a filmmaker.
Alicia, and you would say?
Hi, Tom. I'm Alicia. I work with Edgar Filings. How are you?
Do we keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
All right, we'll stop there because this is fun. All right, and uncomfortable, right? That's not real, right? This is a very forced extreme of treating someone as if they're unimportant. Now, it's hard in virtual. If we were in person, it'd be a little bit easier, right? Now, let's do the same thing, guys. But let's introduce yourself to the person as if they're the most important person that you've ever met. They are a long-lost college roommate you haven't seen in 20 years. They are so important that no one else in the room matters at this moment right now, just the two of you. Tom, go ahead.
Hey, I'm Tom Verity. It's great to meet you. I'm a filmmaker and producer. We do branded videos for other companies.
Hi, Tom. I'm Alicia. How are you? How'd you get into doing that?
I started out as a filmmaker years ago, started doing screenwriting, won a few awards, and decided to start an agency. How did you get into doing what you do?
Oh,
All
well,
right, cool. Role play. Stop right there.
yeah.
Good job. All right. Tom, great job. Alicia, great job. Again, seriously, thank you for being role play here. So here's why we did that. Did you notice the difference between the two? If you treat someone as if they're the most important person you've ever met, and you look them in the eye, the energy it just feels like a completely different experience than if you just go into it, hey, nice to meet you. So
They
when
also
I look
both
at,
had the interest in what the other did, as opposed to just saying what they did.
oh, absolutely, being more interested than interesting. I think you got my next slide here. But it's on there, but being more interested in the other person. If we can look at every single interaction we have and treat that person as if they're the most important person, by eye contact, by energy, by asking questions, that first impression is going to create a positive memory in their brain. So the next time Alicia thinks of Tom or sees Tom, she's going to remember a positive experience with Tom. So that's just a first impression nugget you can use. But I like to do that for every time I interact with someone, whether it's a neighbor, or I'm taking my dog for a walk and I see one of my neighbors, or I'm going to the store and I bump into somebody, or I'm at an event and I see somebody. By looking, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. How's everything? You don't necessarily need to be, outside your own comfort zone, but making them feel important is the key here. No matter how you do it, making people feel important. Another thing is, don't pull this out. Always keep your phone when you're going out to events. Keep that away, because if you have your phone out, that shows the rest of the world I'm close for business. Whatever this is more important than you, and we don't want to send that message. Now I want to end with a story about going the extra mile, and then wrap with a video, and then open up for questions. I'm a big fan of looking for ways to show people that they're important to me, and show them that I care about them. There was a family, the Hearns family, that went down to the Orlando Ritz-Carlton back in like the mid 2000s. And it was a family of 4. Little Timmy had his little snuggle buddy, Joshy. For anybody with young kids here, knows the importance of having that little snuggle buddy. My daughters have like 12 of them, and they always lose all 12 for some reason. Anyway, so as they're leaving the Orlando Ritz to go back to the plane, to go back home to wherever they're from, Cleveland, let's just say, little Timmy realizes he lost Joshy. You can imagine the fear in the family's eyes. So we're going to get on a plane for 5 hours or so and not have little Joshy Hearns. So they're scrambling the room. They can't find it. The whole way to the airport, they're calling the Ritz. Maybe it's somewhere, maybe it got locked or got stuck in the room service or whatever. They can't find it. They fly home. They forget about it. 2 weeks later, Joshy shows up in the mail from the Ritz. A little package shows up. The Ritz found it. He actually got shipped in the laundry, and he got the laundromat, and they found it wrapped up in the sheets. They sent Joshy back to that family. You think, wow, that's cool that they made that extra step, but that's not where it ends, and that's what makes the story special. They made a scrapbook under Joshy to show little Timmy Joshy's extended vacation while he was gone. So little Timmy wasn't worried about Joshy when he was gone. So here's Joshy at the pool, Joshy getting a little massage, Joshy hanging out with all his friends, driving the golf cart on the beach. They even brought him to the back of the house to show him security, and he was so good at his job, they actually made him an employee of the Ritz-Carlton. Can you imagine the look on the family's face as they were opening this scrapbook up and seeing this? Now, this is a very extreme example, but people remember extreme so much that 10 years later, I'm telling the same story that happened. So if you were to look at that network again of the people that are important to you, when's the last time you went above and beyond for them? When's the last time you went the extra mile to show them that they are important to you and that you care about them? Something simple as, if it's someone's birthday, I like to go on my Facebook in the morning and see whose birthday it is. If I know anybody that's of importance to me. Everybody knows the website or the app Cameo, where you can have somebody do a famous person do a video for you. I tried to get one of the Mets, Bonilla, to do one for Michael Craig, but Bobby was a little bit booked up that day, catching all of his money, so he didn't do it. But I'll record a video myself. Say it's Michael's birthday. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Good birthday. I heard you're turning 36 today, man. Hope you have a great day. Just wanted to wish you happy birthday, bud. That means so much more to them look in your eyes on a video than it is just to text them happy birthday. That's an extra mile thing that Michael's not expecting me to do. If you're meeting people at a coffee meeting and you ask them about themselves and what they're into, if they're into a certain show or a book or a sports team, you can find, little things on Amazon that aren't expensive, that when you mail them or you follow up with them afterwards and you mail them something, that shows them that you were listening. I did it once where I had a person tell me he loves watching Newcastle United soccer, English Premier League on Saturday mornings with his daughter. So in my follow-up, I went online, I found a $10, Newcastle mug and it was like a customizable, you could put his name on it. And I just shipped it out to his office. So a couple of weeks later, he gets back to me, Matt, that was one of the coolest things. I've never gotten something like that before. I can't wait to watch, to drink coffee out of it with my daughters, whatever. Fast forward 5 months, he's hiring us to do a pretty big audit for his company. And 5 months before that, we were a stranger. So the point of this is try to look for ways to go above and beyond for people, because when you do, they will remember that. And finally, I want to bring this all together with a video that's called The Reunion. It's a really cool video because it talks a lot about how do you recognize people that are important to you, and how do you look for ways to go above and beyond. So one last time, I'm just going to stop sharing here. And then I'm going to share over here. Yes. Share my sound. Can everybody see that? Yes. Share sound. Okay. This video is called The Reunion. Hope you enjoy.
ये मैं, ये यूसुफ, लंगोटिया यार सी मेरा। लाहौर में हमारे घर के सामने एक बड़ा बाग था। उस बाग का गेट बाबा आदम के जमाने। रोज शाम को हमने वहाँ पतंगे उड़ानी, और उसके बाद जाके यूसुफ के दुकान से झझरिया चुरा के खानी।
झझरिया?
और मेरा साहब नमस्ते। नमस्ते। मेरी पोती मुंबई वाली। और बेटे क्या हाल चाल है? बचपन की तंग गली फिर से कूद फांदे, छोटी छोटी मीठी चोरी गांठ लेके बांधे।
हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
फाजिल स्वीट्स?
हाँ जी। दादाजान, दिल्ली से किसी की कॉल है।
हेलो,
यूसुफ अंकल?
कौन?
जी मैं सुमन बोल रही हूँ दिल्ली से, आपके बचपन के दोस्त बलदेव जी की पोती। याद है बचपन में आप दोनों झझरिया चुरा के खाते थे?
बचपन की तंग गली फिर से कूद फांदे, छोटी छोटी मीठी चोरी गांठ लेके बांधे। एक पतंग सा उड़ता था परिंदों की तरह, परिंदों की तरह, परिंदों की तरह। एक दौर था मन मन मोर था, एक दौर था मन मन मोर था। पार्टीशन के वक्त हम रातों रात हिंदुस्तान आ गए।
दादू?
यूसुफ दी बड़ी याद आती है। कागजों की कश्तियों में डूबा रहता था, झांकती खिड़कियों में उलझा रहता था। वो भी क्या दौर था, मन पे ना जोर था। एक दौर था मन मन मोर था, एक दौर था मन मन मोर था।
भैया थोड़ा जल्दी।
मन मोर। हाँ जी, कौन? हैप्पी बर्थडे यारा। यूसुफ वो यूसुफ मेरे पल्लू। यूसुफ यार।
I'm going to assume that everybody that's not on video is crying right now. Everybody is, I'm going to assume. Anyway, I love that video for a couple of reasons, but did I stop my share? I'm not sharing anymore.
Yep.
Right? Okay, cool. If you look at the beginning, she's just talking to her granddad, right? She could have not listened at all to that story and just said, yeah, it's cool, and moved on. She listened, she asked more, and she said, let me see if I can find this. Not knowing what destination she was going to get to. She found it. That'd have been cool. She could have just found it and said, hey, granddad, here, talk to this person, and then put a phone thing together. But then she came up with the idea, well, what's that next step? Organizing the reunion on his birthday. and the emotion that he felt. Now, again, that's a very extreme scenario that Google wants to show how easy it is to Google anything you want. However, this happens every day. People interact with us all day long, and they tell us things that just go in and out of our ears. If we could stop and be present in the moment, remember that sand going down, and really think about that person and how we can add value and help them, it's going to translate to more fulfilling relationships, a happier life, more success, more business, and overall, just an overall better experience with the people that we love and care about. That is my time this afternoon. I appreciate you all taking the time today. I'd like to open up the floor to a couple questions, maybe if we'd like. And again, thank you to Alicia and Tom for being our role players today.
Does anybody have a question before I go?
Yeah, Matt, I have a question. Thank you for the presentation. I love that ad you just showed us. I'm Googling to try to figure out who the production company was. I just pulled up a few articles, nothing yet. But I'm trying to scale this company. I started another company, the Film Fund, hence my background, about 6 years ago. We do film funding for independent filmmakers. But my new company, FF Branded, does corporate video production. And we want to do branded ads pretty much exactly like the one you just showed us. And so far, my clients have been just everyone from my network. I'm trying to find, I've been doing a lot of networking. That's why I joined groups like Center City Business Association. I joined Philly Ad Club. Just trying to have as many like meetings and coffees with people as possible to try to build those relationships. But I'm also trying to look for something a little bit more scalable as well. I mean, do you have any tips on with a limited budget? You know, I'm thinking about pursuing venture funding, maybe something down that road, but assuming I don't have a big budget like that to work with. Just wondering if you have any tips. You know, are these coffee meetings a waste of time? Do you think I should be doing what I'm doing?
I think there's two styles, Tom, of what the approach would be, you know, to getting new business in that scalable area that you want to be in. Number one, the farming approach, which it seems like you're doing. You know, you're meeting these people, you're going to events, you're going to coffees, right? You're planting a bunch of seeds, right? And then over time, you're watering these seeds and hoping that the seeds blossom into, tomatoes or strawberries, whatever, but turn into contracts for you, right? Or new potential engagements. Knowing the people, knowing the seeds that you're planting and knowing how much time you have to water those is going to be important. But then the other aspect is the hunting aspect of business development is I want to do business. Like if the hunting would be, I want to eat elk for my family tonight. I need to go find where the elk are in the world, you know, and arm myself with the arrows or whatever I need and be in front of that elk. So when that elk presents itself, I can take the shot and I can come home and feed my family. The business development side of that is I want to do business with these size of companies or these types of companies. I want to put myself in front of the people who make the decisions to hire companies like mine. And I want to make sure that I'm creating an organic relationship with them somehow. I think there has to be a combination of both in order to do the scaling. So if I were to say, like, what's your wish list of 5 companies that you want to do business with? You know, obviously being respective to size, you know, if you wanted to go after Apple, that might be different than going after maybe a local bigger company that likes to give shots to local video production companies. So I would identify those people. Who are the CMOs there? Who do I know that know those CMOs? Or who are the ad agencies that represent those folks? How can I get in front of those people so that I'm kind of organically, at the same time, not organically getting in front of the right people? Okay, not just going to an event and hoping that I meet the right people. I'd really be focused in that area of I need to get in front of the chief marketing officer of Subaru because I know they're in our backyard and I want to do the work for Subaru. How can I find out to get in front of, you know, whoever he or she is?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks so much.
Cool. Thanks, Tom.
So it's tough if you're doing it yourself, if you're just a one-person company. But if you go to all of the networking events and you collect all the business cards, that's sort of what you talked about in the beginning. But I guess you can't expect to just get business from all the business cards, but you have to narrow it down at some point, and then that's where you create the relationships, build your authentic self, and get to know a few key people once you've narrowed it down.
Yeah, so you're only going to go to the events that you might think might have the right people there, the right seeds that you want to water, right? So that's first. And then secondly, when you meet those people, it's okay. Of those 10 people I met, these 5 really seem like they could be of value. I'm going to invest in these 5. So I'm going to follow up. I'm going to book because it takes 2-3 meetings and seeing them again. And, you know, it's you're only yourself. And I'm sure you have to take off business development hat and put on operational hat and then put on, you know, maybe post editing hat, you know, whatever the other things that you're doing as being a business owner. So it's being very careful of your time because you could definitely go down a lot of turnstiles of people that might not turn into any business at all. So it's really surround yourself with the right folks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Anyone else have any questions? I see Peter Markowitz on here. What a name Peter Markowitz is. Did he leave? No, he didn't leave. Pete's a good friend of mine. Pete knows this. We started a group back in 2013 called YB Connected, which was a group that changed my life. It was a bunch of young leaders in the city that we got together every month and had events and breakfasts, and we formed some of the best relationships that turned into business. That's really where my career change, was meeting Pete at YB. So thanks for joining, Pete.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Peter.
I got a question. Maybe
Yes.
we're going to play Stump the Blank.
Okay.
To be determined. It's kind of a forward-looking question and something that I've come across. You know, I'm 40 years old. I've been in business for 20 years, and it's something that I see more and more recently. I believe in, you know, social currency, you know, giving to get. But I notice a lot of people that I've worked with for a long period of times, as they grow, as they get bigger, they have less time for social currency. So for instance, like if I were to recommend somebody and the person is a financial advisor, but that financial advisor is at a point in their career where they can't service somebody, or they don't see value in that relationship. How do you look forward, like for whatever you do, whatever industry you're in, so you can plan ahead to kind of always follow the social currency and be able to treat people the same, not just now, but, you know, 20, 30, 40 years down the line?
That's a good question. It's like you plan to get to that point because you want to be successful, but then you have also the things that got you there necessarily aren't going to be the things that maybe get you to the next stage. So how do you be cognizant of your time, but also look at you of valuable relationships and how the framework is built around? You know, it's like if we have mutual friends that I would, before I'd introduce them blindly, I'd make sure they have the time to commit to this person, or they're looking for this type of person. When it comes to referrals, education is so important to make sure that, you know, my friends, the referral source, are referring me the right people. So they know that kind of profile of the people that I'm looking to meet. So they're not, it's rare or seldom that they're referring someone to be outside of that profile. And the second thing is the incentivization, knowing that that person is going to take care of the person I refer. So, you know, if I were to ask, you know, Michael, and I have someone I want to refer Michael, and I'd know exactly what the type of company and size that Michael would fit. It would not behoove Michael nor me to make an introduction that's outside of that profile of the people that he can serve. Now, he might have the time to service them or point them in the right direction, but I want to make sure my best intentions are for both parties, not just myself.
Makes sense. Yes.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
I guess you would also, if you're growing, let's say to the point, even Tom, let's say the point you get enough clients, you need to hire salespeople. That would be the training, because you want the salespeople to care about and be as authentic as they can to represent you and your business. Or I forget who I was discussing, but the idea of like franchises. If you open another or a second restaurant, but you're the chef, you're the main person, you can't be on both at the same time. Obviously, there needs to be training. So I suppose, Matt, that's I mean, you're trying to train and educate the accountants at Marcum to develop business, not just for you to be a salesperson.
Oh, exactly.
So they
right.
all
And I
have
wanna
to be
able
part of
take
that.
take those philosophies and get them into, you know, into the accountant's brains and actions and behavior, so that they have the confidence to develop, you know, their own book of business based on, you know, the people that they want to be around, the limited time they have to do so. But it really comes down for them is the confidence to get to that point, because they didn't sign up. Most of them didn't sign up in accounting to be in sales. But that is one of the key things to be successful in that industry. Any other questions or anything? Any
All right.
comments? Any concerns? No, we're at our time. Thank you all again for your time today and saying yes to this program, saying yes to me and CCBA. Ben, thank you so much. Thank you, Megan.
We thank you, Matt. Thanks for being authentic and helping us find our why and our who and all that stuff.
Awesome. We can go much deeper.
Thanks,
We'll
Matt.
plan it for
All right.
another 3-hour workshop.
I'll sign up. Thanks again, everybody, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Enjoy your new Thursday, Friday situation. We'll see you at a live event soon.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.